Former Fed Governor Randy Kroszner joins us this morning to react. Randy, we're grateful to you. Happy Friday. Good to see you. She did say the data lately has been noisy, and I wonder if you pair NFP with CPI and PPI, do you think it is?
They're always noisy. That's always something you can talk about, and you never want to overreact to any one or even two or three data points. But I think what they want to do is just sort of hedge and say we don't have enough data to make a decision to start to move down. I do think the markets have gotten a little bit ahead of where the Fed is and saying, inflation's gone, now they can start cutting rates. I think they're going to wait because they really want to make sure that inflation comes down. But we're still not at the 2% goal.
She did say she understands the tendency to enjoy good news, but then I wonder, is the playbook going to be messages like this from Collins today up until the very moment they do cut?
I think they'll give a little bit of foundation for when they're going to move, so I don't think they want to upend the markets. But I think what they want to do is try to give a relatively consistent message, as you can with a committee with so many different people and so many different perspectives, that the market should not be expecting a cut soon. I think Jay Powell does not want to be remembered as Arthur Burns, who had inflation go up very much while he was there, and then he left the Fed. He wants to be remembered as Paul Volcker, who was able to bring inflation back down. And what that means is probably holding tighter for longer, not forever, but for longer.
I think, Randy, at the same time, he probably doesn't want to wreck the soft landing, which we have right now, in an overreaction to an inflation number that has come down historically fast. So do you feel that they're going to weigh the weaker economic data even more? And now there's evidence: jobless claims, the labor market, retail sales, what we're hearing from the consumer, and that's what's shifted. Inflation is still coming down, sort of here at these elevated levels, but with the economy weakening, doesn't that change the script?
Well, I think, once again, people will pivot to what Susan had said about the data being noisy, because you can pick out different pieces of the macro data to see where things are. As you know, as I think I've said on your program before, I'm in the kind of there's the soft landing, hard landing, softish. I'm more in the hardish landing camp. I think now that real wage growth is positive, which is great for laborers, but there's going to be less demand to hire people when real wages are growing. And now that inflation has come down substantially, but interest rates are still elevated, the real interest rate, the inflation-adjusted interest rate, is now positive, and so that's going to discourage investments. Real growth of wages is going to discourage employment. So I do think things are going to come down, but I do think that the Fed will probably wait. They're not going to just cut like that to try to magically prevent the unemployment rate from going up. I think they're going to wait.
Till when? What's your best guess?
So obviously, so now I'm going to sound like an old Fed person, say, well, that's data dependent, because it's going to depend on how inflation.
You don't have to say that anymore, Randy. You're not there.
No, but I mean, my forecast is that inflation will continue to move down, and I think the unemployment rate will move up, but probably gradually. But you never know. That's one of these things. Our models always say everything moves very smoothly, but in the real world, things tend to move rapidly. So I think if you get a rapid movement in the unemployment rate up and inflation continues to come down, they'll move sooner. But if the unemployment rate is just moving up slowly, I think they are going to hold for a while. So I really don't see anything in the first half of next year.